The New York Knicks just got a double dose of great news. Let's talk about it. My name is Paul. This is Big Apple Sports. If this is your first time tuning in, thank you very much. Please just take a quick second, like and subscribe. Does me a huge solid, and I'm going to be pumping out Knicks content all season long. It's going to be a super fun season, so you don't want to miss out on that. So, got two pieces of big time news here. On the surface, they're not going to seem like huge news, but I actually think that both of these things are going to have an impact on the Knicks season. So the first thing is the Trae Young trade from last night. Obviously, the Knicks weren't involved in the trade. It seems like it should have nothing to do with the Knicks. But then why is CBS Sports saying the Knicks are one of the winners of the Trae Young trade? Let's take a look. So I actually, in my last video, covered the fact that the Knicks own a protected pick from the Wizards. So if this pick lands 1 through 8, the pick stays with Washington. If it is 9 to the end of the first round, it becomes the Knicks pick. The Wizards started off the year just absolute garbage, just an abomination, and instantly everyone was like, okay, the Knicks are not going to get that pick. If it doesn't convey this year as a first-round pick for the Knicks, it just becomes 2 second-round picks. So the expectation all along has been the Knicks are getting 2 second-round picks from the Wizards. But then, as my good buddy Lee Corso would say, not so fast, my friends, because all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the Wizards have gone 7-6 in their last 13 games. And still, I mean, this just shows how pathetic they were at the beginning of the year. They're still the 4th worst team in the NBA right now. But all of a sudden, they've kind of like separated themselves a little bit from like Indiana and are really not far behind some of the teams above them. Like, they are only 3.5 games behind the Mavericks, who are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, the 9th worst record in the NBA. And that's not where they need to be. Like, if they have the 9th worst record in the NBA, they could still win the lottery and the Knicks wouldn't get the pick. But in the same way, let me pull up the draft odds right here. So right now the Wizards, if they finish with the 4th worst pick in the NBA, could land anywhere 1 through 8. So if they finish 4th worst, the Knicks would not get their pick. Even if the worst case scenario happened for the Wizards, they couldn't go below 8. But all of a sudden, if they move 1 spot up, get the 5th worst record, it's only a 0.6% chance, so even that wouldn't be super high. But like I said, they're only 3 games behind Dallas. If they have the 9th pick in the draft, they have a 50% chance staying number 9, a 25% chance falling to 10, 3%, so that, like, it's about a 78% chance of being 9 or lower. Even if they fell down to like 8, this is now almost a 40% chance of being 9 or lower. Like, they would have a legitimate chance to get that Wizards pick. And if you look at like the Wizards schedule coming up, like New Orleans, garbage. Phoenix, pretty decent. Clippers, garbage. Sacramento, garbage. Then they sandwich the Clippers again between the Nuggets twice. But the Nuggets right now are playing without Nikola Jokic. He is going to be out until mid-February, so he's not going to be back for either of those games. They're 5-5 in their last 10 without him. It's like obviously he's the best player in the NBA. There's a good chance the Wizards might be able to steal one of those games. And then it's Charlotte, Portland, Milwaukee. Like, you go back to these NBA standings and you see Pelicans, Kings, Hornets, Clippers, Milwaukee. Like, a lot of these teams, even Portland, is really only 7 games away from them. Like, a lot of these teams, if they win these games, they're just going to slowly creep up those standings. And then here's the best part, is like, in one ways, I'd love for the Knicks to keep the pick and have a first-round pick, because I've loved the way like Mike Brown has developed Tyler Kolek and some of the other young guys. Like, I think he's a good developer of talent. It'd be fun to see, a pick in like the 9 to 15 range. We haven't seen that in a while in New York. But then the other thing it could do is the Trae Young trade increases the value of that pick if the Knicks want to make a trade. Like, if they were to say, and I think I should pull up here too, James Dolan kind of came out, said we're not planning to trade for Giannis or anyone huge, and I'm not advocating for that. But I do think it'd be helpful to like maybe trade a Gershon and add in like a Sadiq Bey or somebody who can come off the bench and do what we kind of were hoping Gershon could do. And if that pick, all of a sudden they can dangle it in front of teams and say like, hey, the Wizards are playing some good ball. Like this might be a first round pick. You never know. Like this Trae Young trade increases the trade value of that protected pick from Washington and could end up being a major factor in the Knicks season. So, promised you 2 pieces of good news. That was good news number 1. Good news number 2, and you got to stay with me here for a minute because you're going to see this and initially be like, this doesn't sound like good news, this sounds like bad news. But I actually love the fact that Draymond Green came out and he called out the Knicks and said, I know what a championship level roster looks like, and they are not it. I love that he said that because there is nothing like that a team that's been struggling a little bit as of late, like the Knicks, like they've looked a little lackluster, they've looked a little slow at times, and this is just a kick in the pants to get them going. I expect them to play the rest of their season with a chip on their shoulder, and maybe this is the thing that gets this team going again, because nobody likes, like, I guarantee you every single person in that locker room saw that Draymond Green came out and said, like, you're not going to win a title, you don't have a true star. And I kind of want to pick apart what he said a little bit. So he said, he came out and said, so the truth is, I don't know that the Knicks have a roster to win it again. I know what a championship level roster looks like. They have championship level pieces that can be great pieces for a championship roster, but they lack that one thing that makes you a championship team. And he said, and that's Kevin Durant, that's Steph Curry, that's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, that's LeBron James. Like, that is your 1A wherever they go. And he says, I think that's what the Knicks are missing. And if I'm Jalen Brunson right now, like, he already plays with a chip on his shoulder. He should be in the MVP consideration. He should get a lot more praise than he gets. I think he already plays with a chip on his shoulder. But if it was humanly possible for that chip to get even bigger, I think he's about to get it. And when you really break down, it's like I'm going to look right now at Steph Curry during their first championship run, because runs 2 and 3, they had Kevin Durant. And while I think Steph will be remembered as the better player, I think peak Kevin Durant was just a better player than Steph. He just didn't have the longevity, wasn't a good leader, but when he was on the Warriors, he was their 1A. But I'm going to look at, I have highlighted here the 2014 to 15 season, because that's when Steph was their 1A. And we're going to look at his stats real quick. Maybe I can zoom in a little bit here for you. There we go. So we're going to look at his stats. He averaged, and this is his playoff stats, because obviously the Knicks are going to the playoffs. We need to see, can Jalen Brunson be the kind of superstar in the playoffs that Steph Curry was? So in the playoffs, he averaged 28 points per game, 28.3, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, shot 45% from the field, and 42% from 3. Pull up Jalen Brunson this year, and he is averaging 29, more than Steph's 28. Not quite the rebounder he is, only 3 compared to Steph's 5, but he dishes the ball better, 6 assists to 5. His overall field goal percentage is better. He shoots 48 compared to Steph's 46. And then lastly, he's a little bit lower on 3, 39%, but he has had years where he's shot 42%. Like, it is completely conceivable that we see him shoot 42% in the playoffs. We've seen it, but like his, I guess historically, he was at his best in the playoffs with his first year in the Mavs, and then his three-point wasn't quite as high. But like, he's had seasons shooting over 40%. He can do that on a big run. And guess what? He's your reigning NBA clutch player of the year. So if you're talking about can he perform in the big moments, absolutely. The NBA last year got together and decided nobody performs better in the big moments than Jalen Brunson. So I love what Draymond said because I like this team has been struggling. I think it's a long NBA season. It's hard to stay fully committed for 82 games. Like that's just difficult to do. I get it. But I think this is going to be a big time kick in the pants for them. They're going to be playing angry, playing with a chip on their shoulder. I think they're about to go on a nice run. They're getting healthier. And I think this is a team that's going to be going into the year knowing, like people don't think we can do this, but we know they can do that. And I had mentioned what James Dolan said earlier about the trade, but I also love that he said, I'd say we want to get to the finals. Like he said, getting to the finals, we absolutely have to do. Like everybody knows this Knicks team is the best team in the East. They have to get to the finals this year. But he said winning the finals, we should do. This is a team that is absolutely good enough to win the finals. They don't need to trade for Giannis. A month ago, maybe 2 months ago, I would have said it's bad news that he's saying we're probably not going to make a big move for Giannis. But the more I watch this team, the more I can tell you this team can win a title without adding a big name star. I'd love to see them trade that Wizards pick, maybe trade Gershon and tack in like a Pacome Daddier if they need to, and get a nice player off the bench like a Sadiq Bey. I'll probably put out a video in the next week or two about some other potential trade targets. Be watching for that. But regardless, this team can win it all. I'm so hyped to see it. Let's enjoy it all together, Knicks fans. So like and subscribe on your way out because I got a lot more Knicks content coming. And then also comment below. Give me any thoughts you had on that. Maybe a player you'd like to see them trade for. I always enjoy hearing from you guys.